Well, prior psychological research suggests that money is a leading cause of marital dispute. It's tied only with in-laws as sort of the most common cause. It's also a leading cause of divorce. So I recently conducted a study with Deborah Small and Eli Finkel called Fatal Fiscal Attraction, where we examined the behavior of tightwads and spendthrifts in marriage. And tightwads are people who generally spend less than they would ideally like to spend. Spendthrifts are generally people who spend more than they would ideally like to spend. And there's prior psychological research that suggests that when you don't like something about yourself, you tend to seek out the opposite in a mate. And so combined, this logic leads to the prediction that tightwads and spendthrifts should be attracted to one another. And indeed, we surveyed over 1,000 married adults, and we find that tightwads tend to marry spendthrifts. Now, this is unfortunate, however, because once you actually get into the marriage and there's so many financial decisions to be made, we find that the more spouses differ on this tightwad-spendthrift dimension, the more likely they are to argue over money, and the less satisfied they are with the marriage. It's unclear whether we're simply not concerned or we just have the wrong theory about what would be the best kind of spending habits in a mate. It's possible that we're just not putting enough weight on it. For example, if you take the quizzes on eHarmony or chemistry, you'll see very few questions about spending, and even those are sort of about honesty and morality. It's just hard to appreciate also how many important joint financial decisions have to be made in a marriage. I'm discovering this myself as a newlywed married a few weeks ago. There's just so many things that have to be decided. Financially, it's infinite. When people are asked about their ideal mate, we have these sort of cognitive theories that guide our responses to this. But when we're out there sort of interacting with potential mates, affect, emotion tends to be more influential than our cognitive theories. So that's why you often see this disconnect between what people say they're looking for and what they actually find. And in our research, we also find this disconnect. Tightwads think they'll be happiest with tightwads. Spendthrifts think they'll be happiest with spendthrifts. Unfortunately, that they don't end up with someone like themselves. And also, unfortunately, it looks like they probably shouldn't end up with someone like themselves if you use sort of marital well-being as the benchmark of optimal marriage. Yeah.